The problem is when a person says things to you like, well, you think you're too good, and really what's wrong is their mind is too small for their future. The future is about growth. The future is not about comfort zone. So when an individual speaks to you and tell you, those kind of things like, well, you hurt my feelings. If it's the truth, it's meant to make you better. And you're absolutely right. Our pain really comes from our immediate constituents. And so when a person tell you you're uppity or you think you this, I'm going to tell you what they're really saying. They're afraid of their own future. They are literally afraid of their own future because issues and problems and dysfunction is their norm. And I said before we went live that I don't understand representing where you came from because where you came from never represented you. Your birthplace is not your final destination. And it goes back to the caterpillar and the butterfly, but I'm going to take it back a step further. Even if he or she or they or the group has the potential, they have one unit, 2 units that they don't ever use. Faith and discipline. And anytime a person doesn't use faith and discipline, they always have a bag of excuses for why they can't do something, for why they won't do something, for why it's not able to do it. When most things can be done with faith and discipline. And so when someone says that to you, that you're getting funny or you think you're there, literally what they're trying to do is pull you back. They're trying to pull you back. In fact, I think the 2024, I'm not sure about it, but I know it's going to be part of it. The 2024 campaign is going to be about I choose better. Because many times people who say these things don't think they have a choice. I cannot continue to help you if you think your eyes are closed. If you think you're in a winless situation, there's nothing I can do for you. I've said it before, hope is not a strategy. So when we look at this evening, and welcome everyone in to Successful Living. This is our Successful Living piece that we do every third Wednesday. And so I know everybody's getting ready for the great holidays, but I'm going to share some things with you. I think it is money is meaningless. It is true. It is true. Can you imagine? Real quick, somebody Google the projection of how much money is going to be spent between now and New Year's and let me know. Here's the thing. The best, and this is what I've learned, and it is the best money advice is usually boring and unsexy, which explains why no one wants to hear it. Now, the reason I'm going to talk about it is because then when I hear the complaints, I'm not going to say I told you so. I'm just going to say you chose not to listen. And let me tell you why. Many people are going to make excuses between now and Saturday and Sunday and Monday for why they did what they did. But here's the truth. More than 70% of those apologies are meaningless. You can't work 12 months and then end the 12th month worse than what you started the first month. You cannot. Because that same thing that we were saying. No, total. Most people don't have $400 saved up. So how can you spend $831 if you don't have $400? That means you're going to use something that's the point. You're going to use a charge card that you're going to have to pay about 37% back on the dollar. So your bill is $40, but your interest is going to be $160. So you owe $290, but you're going to pay the bare minimum. And every month your interest is going to get higher. The reason money is meaningless, many people don't know what money is designed for. In this book, you invest in everything else, you tear up everything else, and you're going to have a whole lot of stuff. And here's the thing, let me say this. Many people have or don't have what they received last holidays. And you're going to do more for them, and they have forgotten what you did, and it didn't make them happy. The number is staggering. Come up here and show that face. You need to show that face to the audience. Come on up here. That face, that look like the face of a person who is like, oh my God. Come on up here. Let me read them. Oh yeah, I believe it. This is why I say money is meaningless. Washington, the National Retail Federation today forecasts that the holiday spending is expected to reach a record level during November and December and will grow between 3 to 4% over 2022, between $957.3 billion to $966.6 billion. Send that to me. And here's the whole point. Come January, when your taxes are due, your mortgage is due, yeah, screenshot that and send it to me. See, people don't believe it. This is why you need the book. And this is what I'm saying. People spend money on things that does not reinvest or bring a revalue back to them. Because my emotions, I have to have. I don't want to be embarrassed. You know, I have a name to protect. That's why I say money is meaningless. Most people are spending money they never had a budget for. I know this is going to be quiet. I knew we were going to get out early today. Especially, I cannot believe he's talking about money is meaningless. It's right around the holidays. This is why you need the book, Basic Financial Steps that teach you how to make your money work for you. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you and never upfront. Go ahead and be stupid. What's the day? For the next 11 days, go ahead and be stupid all you want to. Get in all the debt you want to. Okay, spend money, overspend on your card. Spend till they decline your card. Then I want you to get this book. Then I want you to come to class and look in the mirror and say, I think I may have it now. This is Basic Financial Steps that teach you how to make your money work for you. Volume 1, Successful Living by Reginald Campbell. I promise you, you will not do the same thing next year as you're going to do this year and as you did last year. So you're saying that the debt and most of that debt is going to be on credit cards. There are some people literally not going to pay their utilities. There are some people literally not going to pay their mortgage. They're not going to pay their rent. They're not going to pay their insurance because we're in the season. I have to have it. It's not about Jesus. You know, people always put up the little notices, Jesus is the reason for the season. Stop lying. Everywhere you go, every billboard you see is asking for your money. If it was about Jesus, look at that. A lot of people going to fall out on Christmas because we're like, I have to get this for the kids. The best thing for the kids is to teach them the reality. I didn't say not get them anything because I know somebody out there looking like this. I didn't say not get them something. But the problem is you try to get them everything. They're going to get everything out of you, out of mama, out of daddy, out of sister, out of brother, out of aunt, out of uncle, out of grandma, out of granddaddy. They're going to hit at least 8 people. And if you got multiple people on both sides of the family, they about to break up. And you wonder why they can't clean up their room. The room wasn't big enough for all the stuff they have. And let me go ahead and give the little thing that people say. I just want them to be happy. I just want them to be happy. And I'm like, what happened to the people, and I know this is old school, that didn't get anything but a bag of fruit and a peppermint? Said, come on. And a peppermint came in the bag. A tangerine, an apple, and an orange. And senior citizens, I've been with them all day today. So y'all know how good I'm feeling. Whew, Mufasa. So the next book you need, and you need to get this book now, is The Mind of a Champion. And I don't know, I've seen excerpts of the book, so I don't want to take it out of context, but you need in 2024 to learn how to champion your money. Okay? Learn how to champion your money. It all starts with being a champion over your mind. So now, 70% of the apologies for the holidays are going to be meaningless. Here's a couple of excerpts from the book. Is money is designed to build infrastructure to one's finances. Money should flow through your infrastructure to take care of issues. Here's the thing. The reason I said money is meaningless is because people are only paying on things. I have a car payment. And so you're paying on your car. You don't have the metaphor in your mind to pay off your car and to pay down your car. See that biggie sizing that you do every day? See, let me tell you a word that many people don't understand. Is yield. This is why we have inflation. It's because people want a greater yield. You want to spend money, let's say $1. But for the $1 you spend, they want $1.37 back. And technically, the way we are right now in finances, if you spend $1, they want $3.85 back off of the $1, which would make it $4.85. That's the economics behind all of the commercials, because people are betting and setting people up for the great okie doke. And so for every $1 you spend, they're projected to make 3.75 off of that $1. So you can almost say anywhere from $3.75 for every $1 to $4.85 for every $1. And you get less and they get more. And this is when I tell people money is meaningless, because your money isn't flowing through the infrastructure. The reason why would I say infrastructure is because people who are failing are trying to show money. People who have money are trying to push money through certain things. Like, here's one thing, the mindset about your money. Number 2 would be the behavior with your money. Number 3 would be, what relationship do you have with money? So people will present you things for you to spend more money, because if you can't say no to people, then you can't say no to yourself. And if you says yes to people, then they incite you to say a greater yes to yourself. And if you are unaware, it's about 2 or 3 times a month now. We always have some sort of celebration or holiday. Sometime I think we got 5 or 6 holidays or 5 or 6 celebration in the same month. Well, I thought we was, well, no, this is kidney. Well, I thought we was, no, this is cancer. Oh, I thought we was, no, this is Native American. I thought we was, no, this is this one. So everywhere, everybody's getting your money, and you're going to be sitting somewhere in the cold with no resources. So for every $1 you spend, this is why I tell people, when you go out to eat, whose money are you spending? And let me tell you, this is going to hurt a little bit. Tell somebody, we got about 7 minutes. when you spend money, you lose money. Oh, you agree with that? When you spend money, you lose money. Ask me why. What is it bringing you back besides self-satisfaction? Yeah, that's a good one. What's the yield? So if you really want to teach your children, don't teach them between 9 to 31st. Wait till after the 31st. Okay, because I don't want nobody mad at me. Some little kid be up here with a little rubber toy telling me, pow, pow, pow. Shoot that man. So I close the curtains. What's the yield? That's the word for 2024. What's the yield? If I am going to, now here is something that hurts. Men, mainly men. Anything with a motor in it will automatically begin to decline. Fancy cars, depreciable. Jewelry with your ID on it, depreciable. It would depreciate. So if you're going to invest in something, you have to invest in, and that's another word. We don't know how to invest. Does this make sense? Now, let me ask a question, because we're going to let y'all go, because, I know somebody want to go shopping. What would our future self say to our present self about saving and retiring? They would say, I got time. So what would your future self say to your present self about saving, investing for our retirement?
Start yesterday.
Start yesterday. True. How old are you? If you were to calculate, and you're pretty good in math, calculate that if she saved $500 a month until she was 65, what would she have on her own? So what would your future self say? As hard as you work, all the overtime you do, all the socialiting you do, what's the yield? I had a good time. Is $300,000. That's without interest. That's without anything. If she were to save $500 a month from now until the time she was 65, she would have $300,000 on her own. How many people right now at age 65 has $300,000 in one pocket? That's without any interest. That's without any investing. And see, here's the thing. We spend crazy in our youth on ridiculous stuff. And you can say what you want to say, because I've been with senior citizens all day today. You're going to spend more on your health than you have ever spent on anything else. And I hear people say all the time, well, I thought I'd be dead. I've asked people, what was your financial plan? Well, I didn't think I was going to live to get this old. So you just living to live. I went and saw a gentleman today. I'm going to have to check on him tomorrow because his car broke down. And I think he's in his 90s, and he needs someone to take him to the store so he can shop. I'm going to have to set my mind, because I'm going to probably, what I think would take 20 minutes is probably going to take 3.5 hours. So I need to go ahead and dial down, get up my patience and my musasa. And I'm not laughing at him, because if I hope to live to get that old, and if I hope to live to get that old, I am not going grocery shopping. I can't even get a phone call from you for when I went and got you some stuff that they said will work on your break. Yes, we live. Work on your break. This is my 15-year-old granddaughter, my first granddaughter, and I went out of my way a whole hour to pick it up and to take it to her. She didn't even call back or text and say, thank you. It works. No, but what did you do? I had to call you to see if it was right. So if I'm 97, I know you not coming. Don't lie to me like that. That's one of those lie to me. Oh, Papa, we going to take care of you. Oh, Papa, we love you. Ooh, you know, Papa. Once they find out how the money running, they're like, ooh, he gonna be all right. He gonna be all right. Just ring the phone and somebody pick up, hang it up, because then we know he's still alive. I'm saying, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna check on you. Checking isn't taking care of me. That's just like peeping in the door. You all right? Yeah. Okay. Good. Bye. Oh, by the way, I need some money. Yeah. Yeah. Keep him on life support. Keep him on life support. As long as he living, the money gonna keep turning. Lord, keep him on life support. I got my car to buy. I know he talked about it when I was 15, but I got to have that $300,000 car. Ooh, I look here. I've been to one too many rodeos to be falling out. Oh, you know I love you. How many of y'all done that? Ooh, you know I love you. I dream about you. Ooh, if we could get some of the stuff we gave away back. Ooh, Lord, for love. Can we use the famous term? What's the yield? For love. So what would your future self say to your present self about saving, investing, and retirement? And so here's one of the things. Everyone, and I speak, and I've seen the high-end investors say you don't need to save, but certain ethnicity groups need to start out saving because they don't have money to burn or money to lose. You know, some people are playing with house money. And so when you're playing with house money, you don't feel the burning when it's your money. So everything that you start doing going forward in your life, you need to ask the question, what's the yield? How does it affect my health? Does it help me build wealth? Does it help me sustain? And how does it advance me? Because if not, truly money is meaningless. Let me close out by invoking this. I hear people say, well, I have a permanent check coming in. Those that are about the age of 35, you would never see Social Security. You need to start petitioning now that they stop taking it out. One is because Medicare and Medicaid and assisting those that are living, the bill is greater than the intake to a certain degree, because you need to go back and find the president that took out $2.3 trillion out of Social Security, and nobody can ever figure out what they did with it. So Social Security has been robbed by one of the presidents that we formerly have had. So for those that are about 35, I think when they were telling me, they said, yeah, you will see it, but they're going to trim it down. But those that are almost 30 years out, they'll never see Social Security. So my question to you is, if you don't build your own, who do you expect to build it? And until you learn to value the principles of saving and investing and coffers. Most businesses have coffers. People make money, but then people want to spend the money that was made, and people that are business-minded know that they need to take 12% and set over here for, and this is not emergency money. This is not slush money. This is money that's set aside for the business, either to advance the business, sustain the business, or create or upgrade the business. Am I correct? So yes, just sir. Because you say, well, they made $1,000, you don't know how that $1,000 has to be broken up. And what you want to do is go run and give it away. Can I really be honest with you about purchasing a home? Well, yeah, unless it has a mortgage and they're taking it out. But owning a home, these are the points of owning a home. I would first ask a person, Why do they want to own a home? Is it an investment? Is it where you're going to live? Now, this is going to hurt. I'm not saying hurt you, but it's going to hurt people. Your house is meaningless if you don't reinvest in it. If an individual does not, he or she or they, does not do upkeep on the house, even though it's appraised by the houses that are around it, when they actually come and do an appraisal, the appraisal is going to be offset with the things that need to be upgraded. That's why you hear me say, what's the purpose? Now, a purpose of buying a home is right now there is gathering a class action lawsuit against one of the credit unions because they turned down 61% of minorities. And they gave excuses for why. And the Latino minority was even granted less. A home should be an investment. It should be able to give you shelter, a fixed cost for your mortgage. It does give you an incentive in your tax. You can write that off. And you can get equity. See, those that have been successful with homes, they don't do what certain ethnicity people do. Most minorities go try to buy a big house. What others do is they go get a small house with a small mortgage. They stay there 3 to 5 years till they have 1.3 kids, which I'm still trying to figure out what that is. And that mortgage on that house is $500 to $800. Here's the mistake most people do. They sell that house. You will never get that mortgage at that low ever again. Can I get a witness? You need to take that house and take the equity out of that house and buy house number 2. And the people that's living in house 1 will pay 2/3 of the mortgage in house 2. Now, what's the advantage? Is you continue to get a tax write-off. You continue to be able to write off any kind of upgrades that's in that house, and it creates equity. And many people, instead of putting money down, which is like still 20%, so if you bought a house for $200,000, you're saying, say it loud. How many people, if you don't have $400,000, if you don't have $400 in your bank, I just want to know where the hell you're going to get $40,000. Okay? No, I'm being honest because this is successful living, so I can give you a little hard truth. Because I questioned it years ago when you have to send in your ID to a mortgage company. Because many mortgage companies, they have a quota of who they're going to let in and deny. And if you don't look like them and you don't have anybody else that even look like you, you probably will fall in the bucket of denial first. Because the lawsuit is one guy got turned down on a Monday by a credit union. 2 days later, took the same credit, same amount of money, and got the loan. So he started posing questions and then found out that it was a slew of people, 61% get rejected. And they give you this tax, well, you know, we value the credit score and debt to profit ratio. Well, what blueprint are you using versus what everybody else is using when it's somehow 2 or 3 sections of minorities are always getting turned down, and many of them have better credit than some of the ones you're approving? I would like an explanation for that. Because the key is, that's why most minorities are behind, because they don't own a home. What's the average increase of equity in the home? Look that up real quick because we're getting ready to close. See, this is why you can pay $12,000. Let's just say somebody else over here on this side. Let's say $13,000 a year. Multiply that by 5 and tell me what you got. So you have to understand what is your purpose, because if you get too much house, now you have no room to do other things. If you just get enough house and build up 5 years of equity, you can upgrade your home. But most people say, and I've said this to people, they're like, well, we got to sell it because we can't afford it. It's not for you to afford. It's for you to have someone else pick up the mortgage, pick up and you never rent your house for what you paid for it. Talk to me, business people. You have to put a certain percentage over that covers the repairs, the taxes, the security, all these other. You have to have that. Now the problem is, if you have an apartment, and I'm not mad at anybody that got an apartment or anybody that's living in what they call modular homes, because I don't want to say the other word because people be throwing rocks. Him talking about me, he think he all that. No, I'm just speaking the facts. What's the yield on an apartment? Did anybody look it up? If you $13,500 a year times 5, what do you come up with? I did give y'all that. Well, it don't matter. Oh, now we tick for tat. Ooh, y'all better be glad I would shoot y'all.
$65,000
in 5 years for renting an apartment.
for renting an apartment.
And what's the return? Yeah,
Dude
speak
said
loud.
0.
So you spent $65,000 when you could have rented a back room of somebody's house and saved that. You put $65,000 in the first time your rent's not on time.
Getting an eviction notice.
You're getting the.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, listen, the landlord's in here now. Now the landlord's talking. Oh, yeah, you got to be gone, Billy. I want you to know that. You're cutting into my budget. I got to have my yield. I don't care if you fell off that horse and busted your head. Should have worked with your other hand. but I'm serious. So that's the purpose of having a house. A house will economically give, it is what we call the bottom end of the blueprint for building wealth.
The average increase in home value is, since 2012, has been 7.7% a year.
Okay, so put that in real dollar numbers.
So based on, let's just say $100,000.
Yes.
You're looking at an increase of $7,700 a year.
Okay, that's kind of on the low end. Multiply that times. Do I know? Mm-hmm. Oh, well, the houses are completely different than what they were in 2012. I wish I could get a house for a price of a 2012 house. Thank you. Yeah, I take a 2001 house. What's my house famous? $400. Got it like that, player. Okay. Go try to get a house now with a mortgage. If you have a mortgage now under $1,000, you need to go home and shout on your porch and paint your house and redo your gutters. You need to go home, because there ain't nobody getting that kind of mortgage ever again. You'll be 150 years old, because our parents came up paying 29 and 39% interest, and people crying over 7. Well, I don't like going to grandma's house because grandma got a small house. Honey, if grandma got a house, listen, at 39 to 40% interest on that house, $1. That's why she got a little house. Grandma wanted a big house too. But they wouldn't let her get a big house. What'd you come up with?
So another article says that the average home value has been between 7.7% and 15.8%.
Let's round that up to 13.5% and tell me what that's going to be the same 5 years. What did you say, 5 years? Did we say 5? As a renter? And tell me the difference.
Okay.
Do the math. Any other questions? We're going to let y'all go shopping, because what time does the mall close? The mall close? So you know what? I was going to give her my car. I think I might have to rethink that thing. Only time I'm here.
So for 5 years,
Uh-huh.
13.5% a year
Mm-hmm.
on a $200,000 house.
Mm-hmm.
That is a total of $135,000.
And what was your question about what's the purpose of owning a house? Right, because then now you take that $135,000 over a span of living in that house for 5 years. But see, here's the kicker. Most people do not make sacrifices to come up with what they call earnest money. And so even now, if you wanted a $200,000 house, you're going to need $40,000. And the average American don't even have $400,000 saved up. But if you were in a position to do that, now you can turn around and you would have $135,000 worth of equity, which means now the bank will sit down and look at you differently than they look at somebody asking for a loan. What is that?
Home equity line of credit. Home equity line of credit.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get a house, they will give you a home equity line of credit against the house up to about 90% of the value of the house.
Now, can I tell you what people do? Is they get that 90%. Mm-hmm. No. No. That's the ignorant people. I'm talking about smart people now. I'm not talking about those as just, shooting me a bird and they take that money and invest it. And then they turn around in 2 years and sell their house and pay off both loans. Yeah, 90% would be a high risk for me as far as that. But that's what they do. They will go, and let's say the house payments are $1,000, and they'll go and get the HELO loan, and they'll get 50%. And what they'll do is they'll take that 50% and go invest it. All right? And they will take the remainder and help make the difference in the payment. They know every year they're going to get $10,000, $15,000 more equity in that home. Then they're going to do about $15,000 worth of renovations in that house that still came out of that 90%. And then they're going to turn around and sell it. And when that other person buys it, it keeps them scot clear. They've already got their money in advance. Come on, talk to me, people. And then they're going to get more money on top of that. Mm-hmm. So then they go and find a fixer-upper with some land, and then they fix that up, and they do the same thing. So they're taking the interest. That's why I say money is meaningless if you don't understand the infrastructure. The problem with most people is they don't want to listen to be taught. They want to run. And if you don't get the step by step, then you can't. And so when I talk about coffers is when they go out and get credit in their business. Because so now, instead of it being personal, which is basically the first 6 months, maybe a year, now the business is able to stand on its own. Am I right or wrong?
Yep.
And it has a completely different credit score. Am I right or wrong?
You're right.
So now they have at least 4 different credit scores, because especially if they have more than one business and more than one LLC. But what we do is get it. I'll pay everything and pay in cash, buy here, pay in cash, pay in cash. But you're not generating any money, because what you don't have is what we call equity power. Am I right?
Yes.
And collateral. And the very house that they got a HEBO loan on, they'll turn around and go get another one and put a lien and sell it to somebody else. And once they close the loan, all that debt's paid off. So what do you think their credit score look like? And what do you think their business credit score look like? See, the problem with most people, and I'm going to say this, there are certain people who look at the land and the house. And there's certain people that only look at the house. And they say, oh, I don't want that old little bitty house. Am I right?
Yes.
And people will look at the land, and some will look at the house, and some will say, we can tear the house down, and we can build something, a 2-story, 30 by 40 house on it, and sell it. It's right uptown. There was a couple of people. There was a flower shop there. They sold the property for one amount. They split the lots up and rezoned it. and then sold the land, the one lot, for $400,000 for land that they probably paid $100,000 for. So one lot had 4 lots right there. Went and got it rezoned. And then built a 30 by wide, 40 feet deep, put the garage in the back, a Charlestonian type home, and put some bells and whistles in it, and then they sold the rest of the lot. So where they probably made out with $2.8 million for a $200,000 investment. That's a yield. And you downtown looking like a social butterfly. You trying to impress people with your jewelry on Christmas Day? You buying team shirts and team hats and team clothes and team sneakers. Stop being on the bottom end of the spectrum. Listen to Successful Living and flip the paradigm. I told a particular colleague of mine who paid over $70,000 in taxes, I said, you're crazy. And they said, why? And I said, what do you own? They said, nothing. And they felt good. I said, that's the problem. Because had you owned something, you wouldn't have paid nowhere near that amount of taxes. And then everything that you own and you're building will create a yield. And the government might owe you money. Because I tell people this with money all the time. You got $250,000 in the bank. That's cool. But what are you going to do? What does your present state look like? Because once you start spending money and to compete, because now you have to compete for people to buy your home. So is your house modern? Because most of the time when you walk in, it's just like a piece of property that I was looking at. The view was beautiful. The spot was great. But the house was built in the 30s. So now I'm going to have to tear down your house and put in new plumbing and build it up from the ground. I may as well go build my own. Because you hadn't changed the toilet since it was built in 1935. You still got paneling on the kitchen walls. Come on, somebody. And you're asking an astronomical price for a beautiful view that a house that don't match the view. So I'm not going to pay you $1.1 million for a house that's only worth maybe $60,000. I may as well go somewhere where I can have the best of both worlds. So I say it again as I close. Money is meaningless if you don't have the proper infrastructure. So that was a good question about having a house. And the thing that people are doing is they're trying to sell their house and say where they go. Here's my whole point. That's the first sign of not having nothing and knowing how to have something. Because if you don't have a plan for the $135,000, besides trying to impress somebody, I'm going to say what a friend of mine said. Everybody don't deserve a home.